Hello, Scream Demons, and welcome to the Screams from the Basement podcast with Sam and Casey. I am one of your co-hosts. I am Casey.
I'm Sam. Let's get screaming.
And let's get screaming as we are joined in the solitude of the basement by the directing team of Jeremy Brown, who is best known for his work on the Friday the 13th fan film Vengeance, and veteran filmmaker Mick Strawn, who horror fans will recognize from his work on the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, amongst many, many other films.
Their directorial powers come together for the survival horror film Solitude, which is now available on VOD. Solitude follows Kara, a reality TV survivalist who comes face to face with a creature beyond the elements of nature. Welcome to the show, Jeremy and Mick.
Woo woo!
Nice to be here. What's up?
Sorry, I apologize.
Well, guys,
That's perfect.
First things first, I have to say this right away. Congratulations on the movie. This is incredible. Making a movie is a miracle every time you set out to do so, and you guys did it. How does that feel?
Tiring.
Exhausting.
I would expect
Really?
nothing
Exhausting.
less. Yeah.
It's like sending your kid out to school. Same thing.
I yelled at people that I barely even know. By the time I got off that film, I got onto a plane and just fucking yelled at myself.
Well, at least you spread the love around to not just everyone else. You had to include yourself in that.
Yeah.
If you use the term love loosely, very loosely.
True. But to answer your question, it was great. I mean, it was hot, it was sweaty, it was a lot of things, but we pulled together. When I was having an off day, Mick would step in, and when Mick was having an off day, I'd jump in, and we kind of lifted each other up through this whole process. And
I swear to God, it's when you're standing when you have at least 5 mosquitoes that on a first name basis, you know that you're in the middle of a film,
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Come on, Mick, it's Minnesota's state bird.
yeah, it is.
You guys shot this movie outdoors. It's a big outdoor shoot. Where did the idea for this movie, this survivalist horror thriller, come from?
That's his fault. Totally his fault.
Well, my wife and I were actually watching the television series Alone on the History Channel, and we just really got into it. Like, we were flying season 1, season 2, season 3, and then season 2 really grabbed us because we really liked the character. Well, he wasn't a character, a real person, Larry. He was at odds with mice and every other damn thing and just losing his damn mind out there. And then Nicole, just, she was awesome because she was just catching everything and just totally chill and super bubbly and happy. And I mean, those two really resonated with us. And so I was like, what if this scenario happened, but there was something out there, like something real out there? Not just your normal bears and all that crap, but something really, truly terrifying. And my wife was like, that's the idea. We need to write that. I'm like, okay.
And we kept having battles as we were shooting it as to whether the situation was real or not. And the great thing about it is that we never settled it. And as we went along, we would have a solution one way, and then we'd have a solution the other way, and a solution the other way, and we kept discussing it, and then we were done, and it was in the can, and we still hadn't worked it out, and we still to this day haven't worked it out, but it made a really fucking interesting film.
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting parts of this is how you guys use traditional narrative and the reality show found footage format together, where you're mixing that, where you're taking the footage directly from the characters shooting themselves for this survival show, but also you have a traditional film narrative as
You
well.
have another, and the traditional narrative. The thing that's great is that we, in editing, we kind of did a creep on the traditional narrative. In other words, as you start out, it starts out as a traditional. You didn't really have that outside voice, that outside point of view, and the way that we filmed it was basically we let the show point of view be primary, and then we just started to creep in that secondary narrative, and we just let that get stronger and stronger and stronger as the film goes along, and you feel it creeping up on you as you're watching the film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, was there ever talks of doing it not as a mixture, but as one or the other, where it was just the footage from reality television or just a traditional narrative?
I think it was kind of our intention as we went along. It was particularly my intention. And by the way, Jeremy wrote everything, and I streamed everything. So basically, what would happen was, my concept was that if you notice, the film is actually filmed in a circle with the cameras. In other words, the cameras are all the game cameras, right? They're the cameras of the competition, right? And then our narrative camera kind of is always working around in a circle and getting stronger and getting stronger and getting stronger, and trying to give you a sense of the space, that the narrative, that the game doesn't work. It doesn't give you that same feeling as you're going around, so that you're not getting bored as you go along. Because God, I hate to be bored. You know what? I'm not kidding. I've done some really huge sets in my life. I've done some really huge shows, and the thing that I never wanted to do was bore myself. So I was well known to walking onto a set the day before and going, yeah, none of this works right. None of this works for me. And I designed it, I should know. And then, okay, guys, we're going to rework all of this, you know? And so I was trying to get our narrative to kind of be in a circle and just exposing the other, that the monster is the other, right?
Yeah.
And in the end, I think that one of the strengths of the film is that we never actually worked out whether there's a monster or whether there's not.
Yeah. Yeah, that is awesome. I love
do you get that feeling when you're watching the film that you don't know if this is real, right?
Oh, for sure, because I mean, she's, your main character is, dehydrated and low on calories, and she's not quite all there by the end.
And we put in all those warnings as we went along. But the thing that we actually did, and the thing that Jeremy was really good at, is he put both sets of warnings in there. The warnings that you're going to be dehydrated, but also at the same time, you got this crazy guy that rubs a tooth that's around his, on a lanyard around his neck, and he's talking of these crazy Indians and and all the rest of that. So at the same time, you just have, coming from several different angles, you have both points of view. And the thing that we kept doing is we going along going, well, we don't want to go. And it wasn't like this. It wasn't like, well, we were absolutely bouncing on a fine wire. We were just going both ways at the same time.
And I think that's the thing is, because, a lot of people don't catch on the subtlety of it. When she is, in her camp or whatever, like, she just had this terrifying experience, but, next day she's fine.
Yeah.
So we tried to kind of throw people off with that. Like, why is she so calm comfortable now? Why is she chill?
Yeah, because she has multiple run-ins with this thing, but yeah,
Right.
it kind of feels like every morning it starts over a little bit, and the
Exactly.
visions just kind of grow more and more intense.
There's a
Yeah.
little bit of Groundhog Day in there, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely feel the Groundhog Day influence. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because but I especially as I don't want to give anything great away, but as you get to the end and you're starting to try and resolve everything, I think that we leave it deliciously unresolved.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was it like shooting this out in the actual wilderness? I mean, you talked about having first name basis with mosquitoes. What was both the good and the bad about filming this out in the Minnesota wilderness?
Well, Bill was my favorite mosquito, and he was fucking awesome. I mean, it was you know what sometimes it reminded me of a good Middle Ages bloodletting. But yeah, the sense, and I have to hand a lot of this, a lot of the strength of the film is I have to hand to Sam, because Sam could be crazy as hell, and there were occasions where just filming her actually made all of us feel uncomfortable. And that's kind of what it needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and to continue on your question, I mean, shooting out in the woods and all that is nightmare fuel. I mean, anytime you have to do an outdoor location and you're not in a controlled environment, I mean, it's a challenge between the heat and logistics, especially logistics, getting cameras and lighting and everything out there that was a lot of fun. I mean, we were back and forth on Larry's ATV all day, back and forth, and it was very strenuous. It was a lot of hard work, and yeah, I tell you, make sure you are prepared if you ever decide you want to shoot outdoors and do a feature.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say, as an audience member watching the movie, it's my favorite part is the location. You guys shooting outdoors. The lighting is wonderful in the movie.
Yeah.
How you shoot both daylight and nighttime. It's both equally as beautiful, and you guys just nailed shooting out in that Minnesota wilderness, which is something Sam and I know very, very well. That type of terrain. So you guys absolutely nailed that and had some wonderful, especially at night. I'm a sucker for some nighttime lighting, and you guys knocked it out of the park.
And one thing I have to say is that camera placement and lighting were kind of my responsibility, and the thing that I wanted to do is I get tired of films these days that when the script says night, they turn all the lights off. And I'm like, guys, there's a story here that we're trying to tell. And if you can't see the story, right? So we went back to a lot of tricks like off of Sam Raimi's film Evil Dead, which doesn't have real dark nights, I mean, it's back in the old days, we used to light for night, and the secret here is light, god damn it.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the cool thing is, we had a really cool team out of Minneapolis. They're called Clover Media, and they brought in the big stuff. I mean, we had amazing light team, and they were workers for sure. So
yeah,
and that helped a lot. And Mick's idea ultimately was like he really wanted to light up that background, those trees, everything. He's like, we need to see this, and I was a little skeptical at first, and then when we lit it, it made perfect sense, and I was like, yeah, that's it. I mean, the trick is always you've got an actress holding a camera and then moving around a lot, so keeping your lighting in a position where she can move and we still have that freedom, and that's where Mick was. And kind of give you guys a little bit of clarity, Mick was more the technical directing side, and I was more the acting and emotional type of directing side.
That's actually how we together, but both in Vengeance and on this.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of. Okay. He does the. He works with the actors more and sets them up for me, and then I mow them down.
It's true.
It's a good system to have. Good system to have.
True.
So yeah, you guys you also have a Friday the 13th alum Harry Manfredini that did the score.
Yep.
And I loved the score of the movie. I loved how it kind of integrated into the sound design, which is something that he's really good at in the Friday the 13th films as well. What was it like working with him on the score, and specifically like incorporating that into the sound design of this movie?
Well, Harry's a very awesome individual. I actually met him, true story, at a strip club in Las Vegas. But let me give you some relevance to that. It was for the Friday the 13th video game. It was a backer party.
Okay.
So it created a great opportunity to get a chance to talk to him, buy him a drink, And so I started pitching him. He worked with us on Vengeance as well. So, we talked and ended up becoming friends through all that. And then getting him on this, I told him he could have the absolute freedom to take the movie and do what he wants. Because when he watched the movie, he was in love with it. He said it was, he just really loved it right out the gate. He's like, give me 3 weeks. I'm like, okay. And cool. That was all Harry. He went to town on it.
Yeah. So when you went in to do like sound design and stuff, because you have like the creature is heard before it's ever seen in this movie, and it's a very distinct sound. How did you go about creating that sound?
Well, actually worked with our sound designer Art, and he's just brilliant to work with and fun. But originally, when I was doing the editing, me and Dalton, he's another part of our little team here. He was shooting ideas at him, and I'm like, what about we get like an elk call or something? He's like, yeah, let's do that. And then we just kind of mixed it with a bunch of different animal sounds, but elk was the most prevalent. It sounded eerie. It had that howlish to it. And I think we layered it with like a wolf underneath, and it was fun trying to create the monster through audio.
Yeah.
We tried a chihuahua too, but eventually we had to take it out because it got really yippy.
Say, that's not as scary.
Well, you know what?
Depends.
You haven't met this chihuahua.
See, I wouldn't run away from that. I would run right up to that. That's the difference.
Well, that's what he wants you to think. Then the next thing you know is you don't have a big toe, and you go, oh my god.
Well, another great thing about the monster, not only is the sound design for it, but the actual look, the actual design that we get to see the Wendigo on screen. Can you guys walk us through creating the look for it and creating the overall mythology of the Wendigo as well?
Well, it's funny. We had my working hypothesis on that was that it has always bothered me that a Wendigo is the skull of a deer, and that somebody is wearing that, because what I've always wanted is I wanted to know why is it a deer? Why is a human always wearing like a deer mask and stuff? And until I signed my own logic to it, it really didn't work. And my logic was is that it's shame. Because here's the thing. A Wendigo is created when a human being eats human flesh, right? And that is the basis of the story as we go along. and why the skull is on is based on that. It is based on, well, I go, well, there it becomes an eternal shame, and so you wear the mask so that you're not seen even by other animals, even by leaves in the trees. You want to see that instead of who you really are. And we had written a place in it where we go further and we take the skull off, but you're gonna have to see the film to see what we really did.
Yeah, it's a wonderful look, and you guys nail the mythology of a Wendigo, which I think a lot of films miss that mark, like you were talking about, Mick. Miss
Yeah,
the
it's just there. See, that's the thing. So many films that I've seen that the Wendigo is just the monster. It could be like any monster, and you well, why couldn't that be Godzilla, or why couldn't it be Freddy? You know, but there's a reason. There's a reason behind these things. God damn it, there's a reason. So I worked with that as we went along.
And the reason I incorporated a Wendigo into the writing, and why I chose that as our monster, was it was the only monster to me that was more human. And humans are truly the monster when you're in the woods.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and it just felt right, because, I mean, being in Minnesota, you know, we have a lot of Native American influence in Minnesota, so it just made a lot of sense to me to make that based on that. And I think it fit perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, you also have like the flashback scenes to you know, you part of this movie is a period piece. What was it like filming those and taking your set back in time like that?
Dalton?
Well, that was our second unit director. That was Dalton.
Okay.
Dalton Pope. He actually shot that, and all I did was cast for it, but he put everything together. He shot the whole thing. Wow. And that was actually shot up in Virginia.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I would not have been able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
Good. That's the goal.
It's awesome.
You know what we kept kidding about is and I kept saying, you know, the thing is one untractable wilderness is just like another untractable wilderness.
Exactly. And I think like going back to the old days and seeing the mother and the father, and then obviously you know what's going on there. I don't want to give anything away, but
right.
And seeing how they cope versus how Kara copes with the kind of a similar situation. That's what we really wanted to see, show the humanity of the monster before we show the monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Well, I think another amazing thing is the overall, again, the look of it, and then the set of Kara's, her hideout, her bunker, her makeshift cabin. I'm going to guess that's a Mick thing. Mick, is that something you helped create?
I helped, but Larry Roberts built it. Larry built it because that's Larry's thing. The funny thing about it is, and this is great, is when we first kind of outlined what it was that we wanted, and he goes, yeah, you know, I'm used to building those on the show, right? And we checked with him a week after we had talked about it, after we talked how it had to face, how, you know, where we were with it. And he goes, boy, you know, this is actually going to take a while to put together. And I go, well, it really shouldn't. How are you putting it together? And he says, well, you know, I'm doing what we did on the show. And I mean, yeah. And I go, well, yeah, but you've got real tools, right? You don't need. And he goes, and there's this silence on the phone. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not on the show. I could actually use power saws and everything. Yes, there you go. So I'm just saying, we did cheat to a certain extent because we used power tools.
That's fair. I mean, you have to in that situation when you have them at your disposal. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no need to be an actual reality show while you're
Exactly.
While you're
For
making a
sure.
movie. No.
yeah.
Exactly. Although I have to tell you something is the first 4 days of filming were actually, we did all the day shots in the first 4 days, and it was so damn hot. I mean, and we're in those tents to do all the tent stuff, right? Oh my God. I mean, and the thing is everybody has to look. Everybody, they have to look like it's cool, right? And they're in their mountainous jackets and everything, and I'm like, I have scarves around me that have been dipped in water, ice water, and shit like that, just to try and survive, right? And it was really funny, and like Nicole's walking in there with her jacket and stuff, and doing her lines and stuff, and then we'd say cut, and she'd just fucking melt.
So what you're saying is the reality TV show of being a survivalist is not too dissimilar from working on a film set in Minnesota in the middle of summer.
Oh God, it's worse. Yeah, no, we were Solitude.
Yeah.
Oh wow, no, it's like one of those things. Oh, it's like fucking back in the 70s in that pot that I did. Oh shit.
Well, gentlemen, we're going to leave you off with one last question. First of all, Sam and I we enjoyed this movie very much. We had a blast with it. Again, congratulations on it. And again, it is available on VOD, so people can go watch it right now. But the last question we're going to leave you both off with. If someone is going to go watch this movie, Solitude, what movie would you pair with it as an ultimate double feature movie night?
The Ritual. Hands down.
Ooh.
What did you say?
The Ritual.
The Ritual.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was going to go with Witch.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, both fantastic
solid
picks.
choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because
But Mick, I got to correct you on something. The Ritual is where we got the idea for the flashlight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Hey, listen, best use of a flashlight, and we submitted for an Oscar for that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for people to watch that scene and get the reference because it's an incredible. You guys, that's incredible. Loved it.
Did you like the scene? Because I have to tell you, the funny thing about it is that was in my head, and absolutely nobody understood what I was talking about. and I went out. I was the one that was pulling on everything, right? I was making that happen. And I said, no, you need to put the camera here. It needs to be here. And we have to hide this here. And absolutely everybody is just like, okay, what are we talking about here? Da, da, da. And finally, we roll the camera, and I literally got it on the second take.
True story.
Which is pretty good for that because that's a single shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an incredible shot, too. It's something that for some reason I did not put in my notes, but I was curious about watching the movie. That shot, it paid off. It looks great.
Yeah, we submitted it for the best flashlight in a supporting role.
Hey, it gets my vote. It gets my vote. Yeah. That's for sure.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome.
Well, again, Jeremy, Mick, thank you both for coming on and joining us and talking about Solitude on the podcast. Where can people find this, and then where can they find you guys online to stay up to date with everything that you are both working on?
Well, you can go to our website, brownspacefilms.com, or, I mean, it's all over the place. Amazon, Apple TV, pretty much anywhere that you can rent a movie, you can find it right now.
As long as you don't get the 202 or the 200 or the 2022 version.
Yeah.
Right.
Of things that are nowhere near that, right? So get ours. It's ours, damn it.
Yep. And it's got a big deer skull on it. So, I mean, you can't miss it.
Yeah. The poster is unmistakable.
Yeah. And you can get a hold of me somewhere. I'm on Facebook. I do my best to ignore all messages that come my way. So good fucking luck. I have another film coming out soon called Pig Hill, which I was the production designer on, which is in con right now. So we'll have that one coming out pretty soon too. So and I've written a book called Behind the Screams. It's all about Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great book, and there's pictures.
Ooh.
Those are my favorite kinds of books.
And it has like really bad drawings.
Also,
And to
our
add to
favorite
that-
kinds of books.
There's a great interview he does with Robert Englund in there. It's worth it just for that.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
My
Casey
buddy-
and I, yeah.
my
we're-
buddy, my pal, I introduced him to his wife.
Nice. That's
So
amazing.
we've been friends for a long time.
That's cool. That's so cool. Well, Jeremy, Mick, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was a blast of a conversation. And yeah, hopefully we can do this again sometime.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.